Welcome to the Barak Lurie podcast. I have to tell you in advance that I may be a little ornery and anxious throughout this podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Ornery? I think that's...
Ornery.
Yeah.
Ornery.
Okay.
I have been on pins and needles about the election of the Pope. I got to tell you, it's really, really worrisome.
Yeah. It is incredible.
No,
yeah.
it's not worrisome to me. Why would I be worried about that? First of all, I mean, look, for Catholics out there, I get it. It would have a massive impact on the procedures and protocol involved in the Catholic Church. I respect that. But I don't think this Catholic Pope, whoever he may be, is going to affect my personal life or the lives of geopolitics or otherwise. I suppose there's a possibility. But anyway, it's a big deal, and I respect the Catholic faith, of course, as you know.
Right.
But, wow, it's really taking center stage, and it is not a democracy, this situation. It's a bunch of cardinals getting together, picking among themselves, and by no means are the Catholics at large, having any input in the decision of the Pope. But it's okay. That's the way it works. I get it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, pins and needles, my friend, pins and needles.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, speaking of that, there was this Trump meme where AI was created to make it look like Trump was going to be selected to be the Pope. It was a joke, right?
Yeah.
And the liberal media gets all pissed off about this.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
It was hysterical.
Yeah.
And they really are hysterical. Suddenly, the liberals have found God.
Right.
That is amazing to me. They have such contempt for Catholics and God, generally speaking. I mean, look, the fact is the left has been saying there's no God over. When you think of atheism, you think of the left.
Right.
But after the Trump meme that I just described, they say as Catholic Christians, we're all offended. Suddenly they found religion.
Right.
That's the funny thing about it.
Abortion, completely okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Making fun of Trump being the Pope, which would never happen. Oh no, that's the line. Yeah.
All right. So a couple little tidbits. I do feel that I really need to weigh in on this whole debate about whether 100 men can beat one silverback gorilla. Have you heard about this?
Oh no, there's that
No,
became like intense 4 days
right?
of like
Yeah. And the reality is, I don't even want to deal with talking about this. I don't want to open the door about this.
Yeah.
Because I demur or push back, if you like, to this topic altogether.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because someone is going to try this, and it will soon become the casus belli.
Yeah.
For the inevitable conflict between apes and man, leading to the great Planet of the Apes scenario.
So your money's on the apes. Yeah. Not only that, but they're going to take over the planet.
It's been prophesied, people. That's all.
It has been prophesized.
Is it prophesized or prophet? I don't know.
Nobody knows. Yeah.
So
we'll find out.
Anyway, it's prophecy. See, so if one day, you know how like in The Simpsons they were able to predict the truth. I mean, all sorts of things. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
What if they found out later on, looking back, Planet of the Apes, they got it right. Like that'll be a bad day. It's like somehow we did. Well, who's a Charlton Heston character, and just amazing.
Or the interesting thing is, it's absolutely anti-Darwin.
Yes.
Why did the monkeys evolve?
Yeah.
I didn't see them evolving. Like, didn't we come from them? And then suddenly they stop, but then they have the mental.
Why did we evolve out of them, but they stayed behind?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Was there some sort of agreement among the species
This
here?
evolution is just arbitrary.
It's so bogus. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It's what they want it to be, and everything has to fit into it. But that's another story. New York Times, concerned about people wearing crosses, speaking about this religion thing. The New York Times says, lately the cross necklaces flash across cable news screens several times a week, suspended between the collarbones of Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. Ms. Bondi, 59, wrote in a statement that her necklaces are an expression of her strong Christian upbringing.
Right.
My faith is very important to me, she said. It is what gets me through each day. Across TikTok, young Christian women have been sharing the meaning behind their own cross necklaces, saying they help cultivate a sense of belonging and connection with others. Mary Catherine Ham says, this is real. People wear crosses, and the New York Times is on it.
Right.
They don't like it, the New York Times, but they're very upset on behalf of all Catholics. You know, the millions of lefty Catholics that there are out there.
Yeah.
You know, who enjoy having abortions right and left, yeah,
Right.
which is very consistent with Catholicism, as I'm
And
to
this
understand
keeps
it.
on missing the point, too. Pam Bondi is almost 59. People, she looks like that at almost 59.
She's amazing.
That is the story that they continue to overlook.
Yeah.
Like, if she were a Democrat, I would still be honest and say no. At 59, my God.
Ah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you miss Kamala Harris,
I know.
and because of that, I have found a speech of hers that she recently raised, and
Nice.
I don't know if you saw her wonderful analogy to elephants.
She did an elephant.
Yes.
So an elephant versus 100 men.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, maybe elephants would be a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from the Fight Oligarchy Twitter group or whatever the channel,
Okay.
and they're very proud of what she says.
Nice.
I mean, I'd be embarrassed about it, but watch. And they also put music behind this. Check this out.
Okay.
Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago? The one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake. So in the video, for those who haven't seen it, here those elephants were. And as soon as they felt the earth shaking beneath their feet, they got in a circle and stood next to each other to protect the most vulnerable. Think about it. What a powerful metaphor. Because we know those who try to incite fear are most effective when they divide and conquer, when they separate the herd, when they try to make everyone think they are alone. But in the face of crisis, the lesson is don't scatter. The instinct has to be to immediately find and connect with each other, and to know that the circle will be strong.
All right, I'm sorry, I can't put myself together. I'm still crying a little bit.
Yeah.
This is very, very emotional.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, it's pathetic. First of all, quick question: drunk or not drunk?
I think she's feeling good, but I don't think she's sloppy.
No?
I think
Okay.
she's definitely like, let's say 4 to 6 in.
A little schnapps,
But I think
maybe?
she can still walk on her own.
Margarita.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually don't know what she drinks.
I don't know either. I'm
Like,
just saying
actually,
this seems like a margarita drunk to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Margarita, like she's still awake. She's on it.
Yeah,
but like it's more than 2, less than 10.
Enough to get her to relax
Yeah. Yeah.
and actually, smile and stuff.
But she's not slurring. So
That's
like
true.
it's good. Yeah.
I got to give that to her. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So it's always 5:00 p.m. somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the one thing. So drunk or not.
Yeah.
Next thing, the actual substance itself. It's so bizarre. So she found this great elephant thing, and someone said to her, "Run with it."
Yeah.
And so she says, "Do you know this story?" And it's such a powerful metaphor, and how wonderful it is. And this Fight Oligarchy channel decides that this is actually impressive. I mean,
Right.
that to me is the most interesting part of it. That they actually thought this would be good to advance her cause.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not. Now this idea that somehow we're saying that if as long as they don't scatter us, we'll be safe. We need to be protected. Who is scattering you? You are the party that likes to individuate different groups.
Right.
You are the ones who try to pit us against each other.
Yeah.
Really? In what circumstance are the Republicans trying to scatter you, the Democrats?
I think she actually became a conservative. Let's not divide people, men and women, black and white, gay, straight. Let's actually keep all one. And then what did she say? We protect the most vulnerable. Who are the most vulnerable? The unborn.
Well, that
This is
a-
pro-life.
That's a twist. This has been a Devin Goodman twist.
Elephants, it's all there.
That's right. But I do like to go back to your 100 men against an elephant.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I think the 100 men would probably win on that one.
Yeah, I'm going 100 men versus a gorilla too.
Planet
actually.
of the
Yeah,
Elephants.
100%.
Doesn't sound as sexy.
No.
Okay. The last thing that she says is, don't scatter, right? But she emphasizes the word don't, which makes me think of Joe Biden saying, don't.
God.
Right? That was the answer to his, for Iran thinking that it should attack Israel, I have one word for you. Don't. That was terrifying.
I would love like a refrigerator at like 2 a.m. You open it, don't.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shivering.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's great advice for parents.
Yeah.
When your kids are, threatening to do something irresponsible, whatever, get drinking or have reckless sex, you just wag your finger and say, don't.
Yeah.
And the kid will definitely follow suit on your command.
Yeah. The red
No
background
doubt.
will naturally come out.
Absolutely. And you're welcome
Yeah.
from your friend, my friend, Joe Biden.
It's parenting.
It's basically parenting.
She's definitely glassy-eyed there too, though.
There's something with her. I mean,
Yeah.
and she has, you saw the video. For those who didn't see the video, she had this kind of bizarre smile. She's just hoping that people will resonate to this. She just ran with it. You can just tell. So, in the background, I guess, it says emerge. Isn't that like a pharmaceutical thing? Emerge triumphant or triumphal, whatever it is.
Emergent or whatever would be a
Emergent.
great drug.
From
I don't know
what?
what it is, but like
Oh,
you got
yeah.
cancer, emerge. Yes, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Ask your doctor about emerge.
Yeah. Might cause psychosis and instant death. Emerge.
It's very funny. All right, so this is an interesting thing. So speaking about your girlfriend Kamala,
Yeah.
so it turns out now, and by the way, I want to say this very clearly. This is not from the Babylon Bee.
Okay.
Okay, not.
Yeah.
All right. Remember the CBS interview of Kamala Harris, the one that was totally edited and made to make her look good, and they put some answers and assigned it to questions that were not the
Right.
actual
Yeah.
answers. Okay, so that one that was wildly edited. Okay, the one which was at the heart of Trump's $20 million lawsuit against CBS, that one.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was sorry, it was just nominated for an Emmy
I could see that. Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
wait for it,
No. No.
Wait for
no,
it.
please do not tell me that.
outstanding editing. You cannot make this stuff up.
They're like, you know what? There's no way we can make her in any way sound cogent
No.
or intelligent. The guy's like, no, I can edit it this way. No, sir.
Right.
It is an impossibility to make this woman seem in any way sane and intelligent. Sir, trust my editor. He can do it. And they gave him more. No, he actually did. Yeah, she didn't sound totally crazy.
I mean, there's got to be some analogies here, like I don't know, Anthony Weiner, right? With the best what?
Oh God,
That's
yeah.
like awarding him for best journalism.
Yeah.
With his setting pictures of himself inappropriately.
Yeah.
To young girls, by the way.
Oh God, yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Devin is a bit distracted.
Yeah.
Much like I was a bit distracted about the choosing of the Pope.
Yeah.
But he's distracted by something far more serious.
Yes.
He's forlorn. That's what I dare say.
Yeah. You're ornery and I'm forlorn.
That's true. I was ornery. Now you're forlorn.
Yeah.
He's forlorn about his concern that Michelle and Barack Obama, the power couple whose teachings have guided his entire life,
You just want to make me cry, don't you?
might be calling it Splitsville.
Oh.
Get yourself together, man. We've got a podcast to do. Anyway, so she goes on Twitter saying that she's talking about, that she's emerging as a new person. She uses
Emergent, yeah.
Oh, there you go, emergent. Yeah, talk to your doctor about emergent.
Are you unhappy in your marriage?
That'll be the
Emergent,
theme
yeah.
today. Emergent.
It helps with marriages.
To hell with the
drug,
other themes that we usually do. So anyway, I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But in its own way. But then she uses the word transitioning. I am transitioning. And like, maybe that's not the word you use these days.
Yeah.
Because that's a loaded term, right? And then it's a loaded term vis-a-vis her.
Right.
All right. Now, I don't think she's a guy, but I will say this. I would not be surprised if she were a guy. How about that?
I will say politicians have lied in the past.
Come on. Yeah, now you are not being fair. Anyway, so I look, I don't think she is a guy.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she's a troubled woman. I think she doesn't like America very much.
No.
She's very hostile. I think she probably would be a very difficult person to be married to. I don't know about her as a mom.
Yeah.
I'll just, assume that she's a good mom. But
I hope so. Yeah.
that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Choice of words. And, when you read the actual transcript, your eyebrows really raise. And when you actually hear her actual audio of it, I don't want to play it here, it's too long.
Yeah.
But it sounds more reasonable. Okay, but nevertheless, bad choice of words.
Yeah.
So anyway, it does seem like they're getting divorced. I don't wish divorce upon anybody, nevertheless. No. So get over it.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, good.
Yeah. You made an agreement. Yeah.
Look, that is the key. We joked around last week about dogs. And,
yeah.
And as long as you have dogs in your life, and my wife would also say, and coffee.
Actually, okay, yeah. She's right again. But coffee's amazing.
But dogs are, you can be a coffee person and the other person be a tea person. You'll be fine. Okay? It's nice to both like coffee, but it doesn't trigger the emotions that a dog or a not dog would trigger. That's my theory.
I agree 100% because dog is a shared experience. I don't care if you have coffee or not.
Can we move on from this topic for a second? Because I want to talk about how a good marriage, the thing that really makes it work. Yeah. And this I mean seriously. What really makes it work is the devotion of each spouse to the other.
Yeah. And
a devotion to the very concept of marriage, to the marriage itself. Think of it as a third thing. There's you, there's her, and there's the marriage.
Yeah.
You have an obligation not just to her, but to the marriage.
Yeah.
With a capital M. If you have the attitude that you're just going to stick it out, no matter what, tough luck. Your marriage will likely thrive. Not just survive, but thrive.
Yeah.
And because you will have tough times. I mean, it's going into a marriage thinking that it's all going to be, sex on the beach and margaritas. You're silly. That's naive. It's dangerously naive, right? As we say.
Right.
The reality is you will have harsh times.
Yeah.
Thick and thin, as they say. And if you agree, look, I'm really angry with my spouse, but I'm just going to stick with it.
Right.
You will come out of it on the other side in a very positive way.
Nice.
And
yeah.
I think that's a meaningful thing. And I that's why I think it's easier for a couple that has religion in their lives, and I'm talking about the Judeo-Christian type.
Right.
Obviously, Jews and Christians do divorce. That there's plenty of that to go around. But I got a feeling, if I had to take a survey, that you would have a lot more atheists divorcing easily because I don't think they see the purpose in marriage.
Right.
And, as soon as it gets rough, okay, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Next, right?
Yeah.
That's their attitude. Whereas somebody who is a good Catholic, a good Protestant, a good Jew, devout in their belief in God, will also understand that marriage is important to God, and there's an expectation other than just getting a piece of paper saying you guys are hitched. Okay, it's more than that.
Right.
So anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, today's theme, very important theme. It is about, where was it? I wrote it down somewhere. Here it is. The Lighthouse theme.
The Lighthouse. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Kamala Harris can have her metaphors, I can have mine.
Yeah.
All right.
Lighthouse is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah. Implies darkness, stormy.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's nighttime.
Yeah.
It's a stormy night. The waves are chopping all around. You're out there flopping away in the sailboat, and you want to get to land
right.
safely. Yes, lighthouses are supposed to help you avoid hitting the rocks, but at least to know if you want to go to, think of a lighthouse as a beacon instead of a warning.
Right.
You can find the land without the lighthouse.
Yeah.
That's certainly possible. But why would you?
Right.
Why would you say, I don't want the lighthouse? Of course you want it.
Yeah.
But you could, technically speaking, get to the land safely with no guidance whatsoever.
Right.
But why would you?
Yeah.
Right? You could, I don't know, learn how to cook a souffle without any sense of direction about it, any recipe or otherwise. But why would you?
Right.
The recipe's right there.
Yeah.
You could, raise a kid without any sense of how to raise a kid, without asking anybody about it. But why would you? Right?
Yeah.
And the same thing is true about goodness
Yeah.
and leading a moral life. You could lead a moral life by happenstance.
Yeah.
But there's a book that really helps you.
Yeah.
It's called the Bible.
Yeah.
And there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. I get that. I live by the Torah, which is by and large what Christians call the Old Testament.
Yeah.
But I highly respect the New Testament as well. And why would you live a life without those books that help you guide your life to a moral life? And to explain, you just simply can't do it on your own. Whatever you think you're doing that's moral is plagiarized from Judaism and Christianity.
100%.
Yeah.
And people have, for thousands of years, died for those books. For thousands of years, so many individuals have given their life because they think this truth is so important and so much bigger than me that I must pass this on to generations.
Right.
And it really is humbling. Like, they don't do that with Kurt Vonnegut. They don't do that with Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah, they
Great writers.
They don't even do it with Shakespeare.
No.
It's great. It's great reading.
Right.
But look, when I go to synagogue, and this, by the way, is true for every synagogue that I've ever been to, Reformed, Conservative, or Orthodox. Right. There's a moment where you pull the Torah out of the case, and you're all supposed to stand up for it.
Nice. Yeah.
And you raise it up high.
Yeah.
And you carry the Torah around the temple, and you touch the Torah with your book, and it's a connection.
Yeah.
That's how sacrosanct we feel the Torah is, because it is the wisdom that God has given to us at Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
And because of that, we are ever so grateful, and we're showing our grateful. So we continue to stand until the Torah is placed back in the ark, and then we sit down again.
Right.
That's how holy we think of it, because the wisdom, it's not just that God wrote these words. It's also the appreciation for the wisdom and the guidance. Thank you.
All right.
And it's very fun. Like, kids eventually grow up to become grown-ups. And if they're lucky, they get to be thankful to their parents, to say, thank you for teaching me right from wrong. Thank you for disciplining me when I needed to be disciplined.
Right.
Thank you for sending me to the doctor when I needed to go to the doctor and I didn't want to get the shots and I didn't want to go to the dentist. I didn't want to get the braces. All those things.
Right.
Thanks for standing up for me against the principal who was teaching crazy things or allowing those things. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's an appreciation that you eventually tell your parents, God willing, Mom, Dad, I really like the way you raised me, and I wouldn't be the man or woman that I am today without you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Why do you think that you can grow up to be a great adult without being raised in a healthy way?
Right.
And you might.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people who grew up without a meaningful father or a meaningful mother. It was hard for them.
Yeah.
One of them I thought was a great person, a woman. I actually dated her for a short while.
Yeah.
An incredible, lovely lady, very pretty. I thought she was brilliant. And then she died. She killed herself.
Oh, God.
And she just didn't have the moral ability to continue. It was something, you could tell something was missing. She didn't have the guideposts, nowhere to go. She was flailing in her life.
Yeah.
An extraordinary woman. She did come to realizations of her own, which I don't think most people could. I don't think a lot of people have come to the realizations that she did. But
Right.
Nevertheless, it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
You need that guidance. And I don't think that you can have a meaningful life without the guidance of the Torah.
Right.
You just can't do it. I always say it's like I always challenge people when they say I know what takes to be good, right? Like being good is so complex. You think it's simple, just don't do it unto others what you would. Okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
And that is Hillel's law, right?
Yeah.
You know, standing on one foot is what we say. If you could summarize the entire Torah, while standing on one foot,
Yeah.
the idea is to that which you find offensive to you, don't do to others.
Right.
Okay, that's the idea. And people have translated that more or less to the golden rule. Fine.
Yeah.
But if that were the case, then all you would need is that one rule, and you're done.
Right.
Everything else is fluff.
Right.
But no, there's a reason why we study this deeply and repeatedly every year.
Yeah.
So it's the height of arrogance to
Yeah.
think that you could do this on your own. So here's a simple test I give to my atheist friends. If you were to find yourself born on a deserted island, okay, and your mother dies, and somehow you are raised by wolves,
Yeah.
okay, on the island. This is an island full of wolves for some
Yeah.
reason. Anyway, like the Jungle Book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you you have the ability to somehow have cognitive development?
Right.
Even that would be difficult, but let's say.
Yeah.
Do you think you would ever come up with math?
No.
You might come up with the idea of 1 + 1 is 2, and maybe even a whole bunch, and then you assign different numbers to the total of the number 5, let's say.
Right.
But you probably wouldn't even get to addition. But even if you did get to addition and subtraction, you probably wouldn't get to multiplication or division.
No.
And you certainly wouldn't get to algebra, trigonometry, geometry, advanced math, calculus. You think you would get anywhere close to that without the help of other people?
Yeah.
You see, that's what I'm saying about goodness.
Yeah.
You cannot get there. You think you can. But whatever makes you think that is from something that you're plagiarizing from Christianity and Judaism.
100%. It brings that perspective. Like your friend who took her own life. We all go through suffering. The Bible, the Torah, the New Testament is all about suffering. And if you don't have that perspective, what suffering means and how it is fleeting, and there's deeper moments and learning within that suffering, it's just like somebody on a desert island. What do you need math for? You're not engaged in commerce. You're not engaged in like measuring anything to make some kind of building or something. You have no reason to have it.
Well, man, now you're just a downer. Suffering. No, you're right. Of course, you're right. And I like what your take on it. It's just terrible. All right, let's move on to some other topics. We certainly talked about your girlfriend, Kamala Harris. Trump has spoken about Iran.
Yeah.
And recently he said that he's not going to accept anything other than the total dismantling of the Iranian nuclear ambition. And that's that.
Yeah.
That has to be the end result. And if they accept that, then great. Then they can have a peace deal with Israel and America and so on.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
This is what I've been saying from the get-go. They accused Trump of saying, "Oh, well, you're just doing the same thing that Obama has done with a couple of little touches different." Are you kidding? He's not going to do that.
No.
And nobody would agree with that.
No, he's not giving pallets of cash.
No,
Like
nothing
to
like
terrorists.
it. Here's what Trump had to say. This is in early April, and he's been consistent ever since.
We're having direct talks with Iran, and they've started. It'll go on Saturday. We have a very big meeting, and we'll see what can happen. And I think everybody agrees that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious.
So that is exactly right. And the obvious he means by war,
Yeah.
by blowing them out of the sky. And this is a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's saying it. You have to be really tough. These people don't understand. I'm talking about Iran. Doesn't understand that they really don't have the power that they think they do.
Yeah.
And we are a bit in a race against time.
Yeah.
We don't know how close Iran is to a nuclear bomb. The minute they have the bomb, I don't know that they will use it right away, but they'll announce it and they'll show that they have it, and that changes the dynamics. Now, if you play chess at all, you don't even need to know this about chess, but you know this probably already, which is if you bring the pawn, that small little piece, all the way to the end of the other side, what happens to that pawn?
It becomes promoted to a queen, or
Yeah.
whoever you want.
It becomes the queen.
Yeah.
Right? That changes the game.
Right.
The acquisition of nuclear power, a nuclear bomb, changes the game
Yeah.
in the Middle East in this case. And it would have such a devastating effect. Never mind that they would even use it. Let's assume they don't use it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Their power suddenly becomes outsized.
Right.
And that would also instigate other countries in the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia and other countries, to have a nuclear bomb of their own.
Right.
Look, that might be inevitable, like the dreaded Planet of the Apes. Anyway, it might be inevitable.
Yeah.
But Pakistan has it, India has it, Israel has it, we know that. And why shouldn't Saudi Arabia have it?
Yeah.
Just to defend themselves against Iran. They need to have that.
Right.
So you'd have a Middle East where almost every country has its own nuclear bomb. Terrifying? Yeah, you bet.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see what happens. The moment, this is the perfect time to attack and to quote unquote negotiate something. And I think what they're doing is they basically said to Iran, listen, all you mullahs have to give up total power.
Yeah.
You have to make this a Jeffersonian democracy. Okay? And you all have to wear MAGA hats. Okay? That's the kind of negotiation I think that they're engaging in.
Yeah.
Okay? Because there's no, you know it, I know it, there is no negotiating at the end of the day with a dictatorship.
Not at all.
Just doesn't work. It never has worked.
Right.
Now, one person brought up this, and actually, I actually challenged David Horowitz on this a long time ago. He just recently passed.
Yeah.
May his memory be a blessing. Good conservative man, but even he got it wrong. He said, "Well, there was the time with negotiations between Reagan and Gorbachev at Reykjavik, and that led to the collapse of the wall." No. He actually walked out of Reykjavik.
Yeah.
He showed up, but he basically said, "No, you got to dismantle everything or else." And that's exactly what Trump is doing.
Right.
He's meeting with the Iranians, but he's saying, "You've got to totally dismantle it," and he's made that very clear.
Yeah.
In fact, let's make that clear from this recent interview that he just gave. I forget her name. It was on Meet the Press. Check it out.
Let me ask you about Iran. Your administration has had conversations with Iran. Is the goal of these talks limiting Iran's nuclear program or total dismantlement?
Total dismantlement.
That's all you'll accept?
That's all I'd accept. Okay. Now, there's a new theory going out there that Iran would be allowed to have civilian, meaning to make electricity. But I say, they have so much oil, what do they need it for? But, I've seen it with other states where they're looking to do something and they have a lot of oil. Iran has tremendous energy. I put sanctions, if you know that.
Okay, so you get the idea.
Yeah.
No. Just the bottom line is you are going to dismantle this, and any effort that you claim that you're using it for peaceful civilian purposes is, I'm going to use the D word now.
Yeah.
Can I use the D word?
Yep. You can drop
disingenuous. Disingenuous.
Wow, you're just throwing words around.
I know. It's a little, these are tough times. He says this, and nobody seems to take him seriously.
Yeah.
But they should.
Yeah.
And Iran is listening to this. And look, if I were Iran, I'd be terrified.
Right.
But they have no choice at this point. It's really like the Hamas situation. Now, remember the Simpsons episode? As you know, everything relates to The Simpsons, and it's the next best thing to the Torah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm kidding around, okay? Yeah. I'm just kidding around, my fellow Jews.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, however, does have a lot of great life lessons, and one of them was the episode where Homer is in the power plant and he wants a Coca-Cola bottle or whatever, a can, a soda can. And so he puts his hand, you know this one.
Yeah.
He puts his hand in there thinking that he can get it because he sees it's jiggling a little bit, and maybe if he just grabs it, he can grab it and get a free can of soda. And he ends up stuck there holding the soda.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Oh man, this is the worst day of my life." And then he looks over, he sees another soda vending machine, and he thinks he can do the same thing with that. Now he's got two arms stuck in two separate soda machines, and he's holding on to these soda cans in each of them. And then, very funny, the guys come in and they say, "Okay, now Homer, this is always hard to say, but we're going to have to cut off your arms." Which is funny because you could dismantle the Coke machine, you know, the soda machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says, "Yeah, okay, but they'll grow back, right?" And the guy looks and goes, "Yeah." Anyway, finally, they're just about to cut off his arms, and then another guy says, "Wait, Homer, are you just holding on to those soda cans?" And he says, "Your point being?" Anyway, he leaves the scene, and everyone's making fun of him and such. But that's the whole thing, is that he was holding onto the soda cans. Why do I bring this up?
Yeah.
Because isn't that what Hamas is doing?
Yeah.
With the hostages? Like, you're going to be totally destroyed.
Yeah.
You're going to be cut off in every way. You will die.
Yeah.
And you're just holding onto the soda cans.
Right.
In this case, the hostages.
Oh, God.
And of course, the hostages is a much worse situation. But the point is, you can release them.
Yeah.
And great things might happen. I mean, can you imagine if you released every single hostage right now, dead or alive? Sadly, I think most of them are dead.
Yeah.
But regardless, if they released every single one, returned every body back, I think Israel would be very hard-pressed to go say, well, now we're going to take over Gaza and we're not going to give any option to the Palestinians. I think they would still be within the rights to do so, because I think it's too little too late at this point.
Right.
But nevertheless, that would be an option for them.
Yeah.
And maybe there would be some sort of negotiation there. Maybe they would let the Hamas leaders live. That's their best answer. But instead, they're holding on to the soda cans, so to speak.
Yeah.
And likewise with Iran.
Right.
This is the nature of dictatorships. They will destroy their own people for the sake of what? Power? It's not even power. It's this bizarre hold that they need to have. It's their hatred of Israel so beyond. It's to the point that they're happy to self-destruct.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know of any analogy in the animal kingdom that would do that.
No.
Right? I mean, you think about that. It's the concept of self-survival. You think of any animal, alligator, a lion, elephant, to use her example. Would they be willing to just die for the sake of what? For any one of themselves? No.
Yeah.
Even a mama elephant won't die for the baby elephant if the baby dies.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
She will do everything she can to protect him for the 6 months or so that she has an instinct to protect him.
Right.
But that's about it. But this is weird. We humans are funny animals, as it were. We'll do these terrible things.
Right.
Even if it destroys us in the end. And it's not as if they're doing it for martyr. Well, they are doing it for martyrdom. They're doing it for martyrdom, I guess. But nobody will remember them.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's such a weird thing, and what I'm hoping is, if it does come to the worst case scenario for Iran, that it's like a 90s buddy cop movie where they don't get along at the same, like at first they hate each other, but then they find a common purpose, and the United States and Russia bomb Iran together. Putin and Trump haven't been always on the same thing. Maybe Zelensky comes in and does some kind of like thing too, where he helps out and he becomes valuable, and the entire world actually takes them out.
Yes.
I think that's best case scenario. If they don't just give up their power and stop worshiping this false god of nuclear power, or
Yes,
in
Iran, you're
Hamas's
talking
case
about,
of
yeah.
just these horrors, why not just be nice people?
All right, so this is from Fox News, from Hugh Hewitt. If there is no rapid, verifiable deal soon, expect the bombs to fall. It may be that a dozen sites are targeted. It may take 2 weeks. It wouldn't be a war unless Iran escalated against much stronger foes. An escalation that would risk the regime's very existence. This is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Trump always punches back harder. Always. The latest actions of the U.S. on the Houthis, the U.S. Central Command, the CENTCOM, conducted at least 17 airstrikes targeting the Houthi infrastructure and leadership in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen since April 29. That's correct. They are really pulverizing the Houthis, and that's great. They seem not to care either. Yeah. What's funny is that people think, well, if we do attack Iran, it might, proliferate into a full scale war with many different countries involved. Okay, well, I'd like to know which countries, right? I mean, it's not going to be Saudi Arabia.
No.
It'll be Israel and perhaps the United States.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this is going to be what you think it's going to be. Okay, this is not the war. Look, they have completely gotten it wrong before.
Yeah.
They've always claimed there'll be a massive proliferation of war if X happens. I'll give you 2 X's that didn't happen.
Yeah.
The concern of moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. They said that's going to lead to all sorts of devastation.
Oh no, the world's going to end if they do
the world's going to end. Yeah.
There's no way we're going to survive.
Nothing
that.
happened.
Wait, what?
Happened.
They did it?
Nah, yes.
Oh
would you believe it?
No way.
Yeah, way.
Come on.
It's true.
Oh, wow.
So that's one thing. And then the killing of, what's his name, Soleimani?
Soleimani, yeah.
Yeah, Soleimani. And they said, don't do it. It's going to lead to a terrible conflagration of war. Nope. On the contrary, they cower.
Yeah.
Instead, when did the Arab street, so to speak, rise up when America did something very assertive? Never.
No.
But somehow they just never learned that history. It's right in the past, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's always been this way.
Right.
And Israel has defeated the Arabs every single conflict.
Yeah.
With or without America's help, by the way.
Yeah, and you have people in the Israeli army, they're fighting for survival, existential survival. I doubt the Iranian, I doubt they could even say what they're fighting for because someone's ordering them to. And they can't, who wouldn't want to be, hey, you're going to have a better life and we're going to be treated well if you just drop down your guns and come with us. I think half the army would be like, okay, yeah, sure. We're not going to die and we get a better life and a chance for that? Okay, yeah, let's do that.
During the 6-Day War, my father fought in that war, and he talked about Iraqi soldiers. There were some Iraqis who fought as well. And they were ordered to take this hill where the Iraqis were. Yeah. And they go up, and they easily overcame the Iraqi soldiers. And they found these Iraqi soldiers chained to their posts.
Oh, I bet.
By their superiors.
Yeah.
And of course, they surrendered right away and such. But they were, they were afraid that these guys would run away as cowards, and because they don't have any purpose.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
What are you achieving?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hamas has such a grip on Gaza, or had, and the Palestinians, generally speaking. It's a small group of people. Well, the leadership is small. The influence is very strong, though.
Right.
And you cannot even dissent when it comes to what Hamas demands of you.
Right.
And hence, even the most recent demonstrations against Hamas in what is now completely pulverized Gaza, even those guys were grabbed and tortured and beaten and put tires around. All sorts of horrific things happened to them. So you don't hear too many demonstrations anymore. They tried it, didn't work.
Yeah.
So, is this a fifth look at John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania? The Senate Democrat from Pennsylvania sounds tougher on Iran than many of the Senate Republicans, and possibly tougher than Donald Trump himself. This is from Hot Air. Senator John Fetterman says the Trump administration should drop nuclear negotiations with Iran and finish off the country's nuclear facilities with a military strike. Waste that SHIT.
Yeah.
The Pennsylvania Democrat told the Washington Free Beacon in an interview on Wednesday, "You're never going to be able to negotiate with that kind of regime that has been destabilizing the regime for decades already. And now we have an incredible window, I believe, to do that, to strike and destroy Iran's nuclear facilities." Okay, I agree with him 100%. There's not one slight of a 0.1% that I disagree with.
Right.
What he doesn't know is that's exactly what Trump is going to do.
Yeah.
I love the feint that Trump is pushing, that somehow they're actually talking to Iran. But now it's all coming out. It's not really a negotiation. And so Fetterman must be happy about that, as he should be.
But he is a Democrat. And the question is, could Trump do anything that a Democrat will actually be happy with? And we'll say, like, oh, no, he did that. Good on him. Because I'm not sure that's, like...
I think Fetterman has been very good on the border. He's supported Trump on the border.
No, he's kind of the ragtag one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the border, that has actually been, it's interesting. The Democrats are discovering in a very heartbreaking sort of way that people don't want the border to be wide open.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
I know, you heard it here first on the Barak Lurie podcast. Take a listen to CNN, again, commenting about this very issue.
Why is Trump focusing on immigration? Let me just tell you, this is where Trump wants to focus. Pretty please, with a cherry on top. Why is that? Look at Trump's net approval rating on immigration. Compare where we are now, compare where we were at this point in his first term. In his first term, he was underwater at minus 12 points. Look at where he is today. He's actually above water. This is one of his strongest issues at plus 1 point. And more than that on the net approval for him on this issue has stayed steady in the positive. This is an area where Donald Trump wants to focus, because the bottom line is this is an area in which the American people, at least the bare majority of them, seem to like what he's doing.
And you've shown the impact on how people feel about his handling of the economy and what he's been doing. So let's stay here with this. Compare where he is on immigration to where Biden was. We know that this was why he leaned into immigration so much.
Yes, this is a big reason why. So take a look here. This is on immigration. What track are we on? The right track or the wrong track? Look in December. Look at the percentage who said we were on the wrong track. 62% of Americans when Joe Biden was in office, compared to just 14% who said that we were on the right track. Flash forward to April. Well, hello. 45% say we're on the right track, compared to 42% who say we're on the wrong track. So in a big switcheroo from where we were back in January, the plurality of Americans say that the country is on the right track when it comes to immigration policy. Back in December, when Joe Biden was president, the vast majority said that we were on the wrong track. Again, this points out that on the whole, Americans like where we're going on immigration policy under Donald Trump, which is very different from where we were under Joe Biden.
And comparing the kind of then and now. And
Okay, so a lot of repetition there.
Yeah.
But is this really surprising?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. Like, look, nothing is surprising. 62% back in December, when Biden was still president, thought that they were on the wrong track when it came down to immigration. Yeah. Why is this so shocking?
Yeah.
The idea of opening up the borders and letting anybody come in, that was, you thought that somehow that would be a winning issue?
Yeah.
It's like saying, I don't know, I just want to send out the army out there and just kill people randomly.
Right.
That might be a winning issue.
Yeah.
I think people would be against that.
Yeah.
By and large, people are going to be against that.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is kind of the similar issue. Talk about metaphors and analogies.
Right.
Maybe Kamala will talk about that at some point. I don't know. She's so brilliant. I love her when she's drunk.
And these are the same pollsters who I'm pretty sure thought that Trump wasn't going to get all 7 of the swing states.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think they were saying that Trump was actually he was going to lose Iowa by 24 points or something like that.
Don't exaggerate.
Yeah.
I think it was a mere 12 points.
Yeah, something like that. Yes. And and that's what they say the right track is. I think it's a lot higher.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But at the very least, it shows that there is a flip, and they can't even meaningfully argue this. Of course, the country wants a closed border. That's absurd to say that somehow the immigration of closing the border, that policy is somehow wrong. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where we are with them. And then we have also the immigration issue, as you know, with Jake Tapper, and he's going to comment on it. He's from CNN, and he talks about these signs that are on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about it last week, but it's really interesting. So there's a bunch of signs with pictures, mugshots, basically, of these illegal aliens who have been caught and apprehended for alleged crimes, and they show the pictures and what the alleged crime was of each of these illegal immigrants.
Right.
And Jake Tapper, what do you think? Do you think he likes it? Doesn't like it?
Oh, I think he's disgusted.
Yeah,
I think he's contemptuous of it. Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Here you go.
First 100-day mark with a full court press on the issue of illegal immigration, and they really don't want you to miss it. So they subtly and tastefully deck the White House North Lawn with dozens of yard signs featuring photos of people that the Trump administration claims are in the country illegally, each poster saying arrested and listing the alleged offensive with which they have been charged. CNN's working to confirm the identities and if there are actual allegations against these people. Until then, we are blurring their identities.
All right. So it's very important for them to blur their identities.
Yeah.
If, however, it was a white man beating up a black man,
Yep.
or God forbid, murdering him, they would be very proud to post that, as they have. They always do that, and then they also target that. They try to cancel him. They invite people to check out his address, his phone number, his email.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
But when Trump actually arrests people on good cause for these terrible crimes, and they are illegal, so by definition, they're criminals already.
Right.
The fact of somebody's allegations doesn't. You're saying they're alleged.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can still show a picture of that. God knows when Trump was arrested.
Yeah.
These guys are such hypocrites.
Yeah.
When Trump was arrested and not yet charged.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I guess he was charged. Not convicted.
Yeah.
Like in the Fannie Willis case.
Yeah.
She's got her own problems.
Yeah.
But in the Fannie Willis case in Georgia, they proudly displayed his mugshot.
Right.
Like, wait, why didn't you blur his face?
Right.
Like, we don't know, but you just see the hair. It's
Yeah.
like, I wonder who this could be.
That'd be awesome, actually. Yeah.
But at least he says it's prominently displayed and tastefully displayed. Okay, I agree with that.
Right.
But the fact that he's upset with this, like, what do you expect?
Right.
But you were talking about people whose lives have been shattered by illegal aliens. You just don't want to put a face to their crimes.
Right.
But you have to. Now, I have a very good friend of mine who's in the movie business.
Yeah.
And he has said that it is terrible because now Trump is tariffing all these, and I'm just making a quick connection to it, tariffing all these movie productions that are making their movies abroad.
Right.
And we should tariff them.
Yes.
And he's very upset about this.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. If the whole purpose of the tariffing, at least vis-a-vis the film industry, Hollywood and such like that, is to give a nod to the unions.
Yeah.
In order to protect them.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be okay with that.
Right.
But when it's you who are affected and you're trying to get around the unions, somehow that's unacceptable.
Right.
You got to pick a lane.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, just pick the lane.
Right.
Go with it. Everyone will be, we can respect you at some point. But don't say on the one hand you hate these tariffs. On the other hand, the tariffs are for the design to protect the unions that you treasure.
Right.
But you're the ones trying to get around the unions.
Yeah.
To say nothing, you want everyone to see your pain. I won't be able to make a movie.
Yeah.
Well, whose fault is that?
Right.
You could make a movie if California let you make a movie at 1/100th of the cost that they're charging you now.
Right.
Then that's the problem.
Yeah.
You complain to them, not to Trump and his tariffs.
All right.
You want these massive rules on the filming, and at the same time, when you try to avoid it, and then you're caught avoiding it, then you complain.
100%.
So anyway, they want a violin to play for them.
Right.
But they don't want the violin playing for all the victims of these illegal immigrants.
Right.
That I can't abide.
Yeah.
They don't want all the jobs that were lost.
Yeah.
We don't see that directly, but we know that it's true. And the criminal interface and the jobs that and the welfare that was given to other people.
Yeah, the fraud.
the tremendous amount of fraud. We now know that the Social Security fraud alone was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
But somehow their problems, because it's Hollywood, you know,
Right.
they've got a big microphone, so this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
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 Although I will say regarding tariffs that I do think the Trump administration has gone too far when they tariffed German Shepherds. I think that's just.
Did they actually tariff?
No,
German
I'm
Shepherds?
just.
Okay.
Jeez, I'm kidding around.
999. They're not tariffed.
Ich bin ein deutscher Hund.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's where they're so hypocritical, where they're like, they're the ones who push OSHA. They're the ones who push minimum wage. And they're the ones saying, you know what? Now that we have minimum wage, now that we have really hard regulations that no one can comply with, let's bring in the illegal aliens who are not working under OSHA, who are not getting minimum wage, or they take their entire project outside of the United States so they don't have to pay minimum wage. They don't have to do OSHA requirements. They're such hypocrites, and it's so annoying. And it's not the poor people who are saying, hey, you're going to make it so I can't have 7 servants, I can only have 3 servants. It's the rich oligarchs. And then they say that Republicans were based on an oligarch.
Yes.
It's so unbelievable. Like, you could not write it in a believable way how hypocritical these people are.
Yeah. It's frustrating. And like I said, and I say it all the time, that we could spend 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Without any rest, showing the hypocrisy after hypocrisy.
Right.
And it still wouldn't matter to them.
Not at all.
And that's scary. That's their issue, not ours. Look, I wanted to share with you this kind of interesting thing. I want to talk about this first, I suppose. New York Times has now said that Israel planning to seize all of the Gaza territory.
Yeah.
They make it seem like it's a bad thing.
I'm in favor of that.
We're all in favor of it, yeah, right?
A new Trump Tower.
This is from Axios, also not very conservative friendly. No. Israel's security cabinet approved a plan Sunday night to gradually reoccupy all of Gaza and hold it indefinitely if no deal is reached by May 15. Plans for the operation call for the IDF to flatten any buildings that remain standing and displace virtually the entire population of 2 million people to a single humanitarian area. The alternative to remaining in the humanitarian zone is for Palestinians to leave the enclave voluntarily for other countries, in line with President Trump's vision for Gaza, an Israeli official said. According to Netanyahu, one thing will be clear. We are not going in and out just to call up reserves so they'll come out and seize territory. We withdraw from territory and carry out raids on what remains. That's the old playbook.
Yeah.
That's not the intention. What's our intention? The opposite. And that's great.
Yeah.
And I say this as somebody who is I'm very excited to announce that his son, my son, is going to be joining the IDF.
Wow.
Yep. And in June.
Oh my God.
Very excited, very proud
That
of
is
him.
like less than a month away.
Yep.
Wow.
He's a great kid, an amazing young man. And he just wants to help out Israel and wants to do his part wherever he can. And could not be more proud.
That is is his Hebrew like up to par for that?
It is not.
Okay, so that might be dangerous.
No. But they have a program called Ulpan, where you learn Hebrew, and then you become pretty much fluent by the end of that program, and of course get even better with time.
Right.
So by the end of this year, 2025, he'll be fairly fluent in Hebrew.
That is amazing. So he's learning a second language, learning some weapon skills, and serving a great country.
That's going to be awesome.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. The New York Times also reports that Trump has ordered the investigation of Colombia protesters, and that is raising alarms in the Justice Department. Behind the scenes, a top Justice Department official pressed employees to gather a list of activists and investigate them. People familiar with the matter said. They make this seem like it's just an awful, awful thing, Devin.
Right.
There must be something unconstitutional about this. But it was okay when they arrested anyone who attended the January 6th rally.
Right.
Because that was Trump. Anyone can understand that, I guess.
Right.
Look, we'll make sure only to pursue those who actually committed violence or blockaded people from going to class or such. That's easy enough to do. We certainly have enough video for it.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I'm very pleased with what's going on in that department. Plus, I just learned that Trump has completely defunded Harvard, which is a great thing to do. Just
that is
really
so
great.
awesome.
Man, it's great.
So they're going to have to pay taxes on all of their income because they're teaching everyone that taxes are so good.
That's
and
true.
Yeah, again, they're going to have to do it.
Yes, it's going to be great. All right. So here's another thing I want to talk about, kind of blurring the, that what's his name, Arriaga guy. From El Salvador, Abrago.
Yeah, Abrago. Yeah,
whatever it is. He's
Killjoy or Kilmar. Kilmar.
Kilmore.
Yeah.
He's a schmuck. That's all I know. And
Yeah.
And anyway, he deserves. I mean, he's getting much more than his 15 minutes of fame. I'll tell you. Not that he's looking for it, by the way.
No.
Anyway, they continue to triple down on his story, and they go to check him out and take care of him and bring him back. Yet not a single Democrat went to Gaza to seek the release of any of the hostages. And there were 6 American hostages. You would think, at the very least, they would be interested in the release of one of the American hostages.
Yeah.
One. It's so despicable. And again, hypocrisy, as we talked about, right? Or they're just jerks. How about that?
They're just evil.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And you know who's beginning to recognize that?
Who?
Your pal, my pal.
Yeah.
Adam Schiff.
Adam Schiff, really?
Yeah. Take a listen to an interview that he had. I believe he was on what's his name? That's one of the late night shows.
Yeah.
I don't care. They're all crap.
They're all horrible.
Here you go.
So we're going to have to change how we do business in California. We're going to have to address people's legitimate concerns about crime. I was in South San Francisco 2 years ago after I had an experience in the city that all too many people had. When my luggage was stolen out of my car, they tell you don't ever leave your luggage in the car. I never do until the one time I did. And of course, it got stolen. And what was most memorable about the experience for me is I went to this Target in South San Francisco, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm getting the toiletries I'm going to need for my next 2 days in the city. I get to the cashier.
You went there by yourself, not an assistant.
I think I went there. Well, yes, I had somebody drop me off at the store, and so
I don't mean to make that an issue. Actually, I waited somewhere I should not have waited.
Okay. First of all, I had to get the clerk, which is hard to find, to unlock the shampoo or the whatever. So that's one thing. And then I get to the cashier. The cashier asked me if I want one of those Target bags with a little bullseye on it. And I said, yes, that Target bag is going to be my luggage for the next 2 days. And she asked me what happened, and I told her. And she basically said, in not so many words, yeah, Democrats are assholes. And I thought, if the cashier in South San Francisco at 10 o'clock at night believes that Democrats are assholes because the shampoo is locked up and my stuff got stolen out of the trunk, we've got a major problem that we have to address. And I think
that's an awesome story.
Okay, so that was with Bill Maher, of course. Now I realize.
Yeah.
What's your first takeaway?
There is no way he went there. Because if you have to wait for somebody to come in and unlock the product, you know exactly what you're getting. It's not going to be like you're waiting just staring at it for like 20 minutes. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
You are a U.S. Senator, first of all. I don't believe the story.
No.
I think he has some file guy, go out and get it for. He has a gopher. And by the way, I don't begrudge him for doing that. I'm not expecting the President of the United States to do his own toiletry shopping.
No.
But Senator, I don't expect that. Okay. No. That's cool. But what's so funny about this is he talks in such a way like he's so surprised.
Yeah.
When the cashier lady says Democrats are assholes.
Yeah.
Like really, you didn't think that was a possible perception of Democrats?
Yeah.
After you've made the city of San Francisco in particular and California generally one of the most ugly, crime-ridden, urine-soaked places to visit, where homeless are everywhere, crime is everywhere, and you think that they think well of the Democrats?
Yeah.
That to me is the most interesting part of this clip.
Right.
That, hey, we may have a problem, because if that cashier girl thinks that we're assholes, we might have a problem here.
Right.
Like, really, did you have to kind of go out and figure this out, where crime could run rampant?
Yeah.
and people will be fearing for they're clutching their purses and wallets and everything else, and have to worry about homeless, kind of lunging at them and their daughters and such. You had to kind of talk to a clerk to figure this out. To do a survey.
Right.
I could tell you that.
Yeah.
I think that there's a massive conservative wave brewing in California. The bluest of blue states.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to win the president, the electoral college for California, but I do think there'll be big surprises in California as we move forward.
Yeah.
For a whole bunch of reasons.
Right. Or 100. Just on Adam Schiff, there's crime. Stores are leaving and closing. You have to wait for someone to unlock like Doritos chips or shampoo to get to it. People are ODing left and right all the time. Your shoes are going to be filthy when they get out. Everybody's leaving. No one feels safe. And the problem is a cashier thinks Democrats are a-holes. I don't think that's the problem.
Right, exactly. That's my point.
Yeah. It's so they are still so lost. They don't understand, hey, why don't you listen to actually what we're saying? We're not saying you're an a-hole. We're saying everything is horrible that you've destroyed. Yeah. And like we just got to take their nose and rub it into it.
All right, I'd like to leave with a couple of announcements, I guess. One is check out Elevator Pitches for God.
Oh, nice.
Where great minds are thinking about and chiming in about their belief in God and why they believe in God. It's 500 words or less each article. 70 great minds.
Yeah.
Dennis Prager is there. Alan Dershowitz. Yeah. Even Barak Lurie is there.
Nice.
Can you believe
on that?
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And
yeah.
It's done very well. Check it out. Go to Amazon.com. Support the cause for God. It really is. This has really been changing a lot of minds, but talk it up to your friends. I really love this book. And again, it's not just because I'm in it.
Yeah.
I think the other articles that were written were far superior than mine.
I doubt it.
But you're very kind. But I'm very passionate about the God, the existence of God, and proving it. And so this really resonated to me. But boy, they made some really good arguments there. And this is a powerful, powerful book. So check it out, Amazon.com. Elevator Pitches for God. Nice. It's really great stuff. Finally, I also want to make the announcement yet again about my son's fundraiser for Stand With Us and for the Friends of the IDF, FIDF. But check it out. Stand With Us. Look for Alex Lurie, Lurie, of course. And he's doing a fundraiser. It's a swim-a-thon for the hostages. And he's raised a lot of money so far. Please contribute whatever you can, even if it's $18, $36. I'm doing it in multiples of 18. That's the traditional thing to do in Judaism. But whatever amount you want, $50 is great, $100. We've had as low as $5, and we've had as high as $1,000, and everything in between.
Yeah,
mostly on the smaller side. So please contribute what you can. It would mean a lot to Alex, but more importantly, to the cause. And we've been getting money from all over the world. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different small amounts, and we've raised already $25,000.
Wow,
which is huge.
That is amazing.
So if you can be part of that growing, I would so appreciate it, because we have a great audience. We really do. All right, folks. Barak Lurie signing off, saying God bless, be strong, and we'll talk with you next week.